Welcome back to Armitage. It's been a minute. Glad you're here for this pivotal episode. If you are one of my many new viewers, we'll start with not exactly a warning. Let's call it helpful advice. This is the 13th episode of a series where we are developing strategies DMs and players can use in an economic campaign. Don't expect to have any idea what's going on if you haven't seen at least some of the previous episodes. Also, veterans, it's time that we start considering how far we're taking this. A lot of ideas and concepts have grown and changed over time. I'm not saying we're going to stop the development of the system, but at some point we might outgrow our experimental town of Armitage. Outgrow might be the wrong word. I wouldn't mind seeing it develop into a full-blown city. But what I am saying is this. This series is about the system, not the town. It's going to have to be applied to something new eventually. Let me know your thoughts. I'll bring it up again from time to time until we're ready to pull that trigger. Starting with the mine as usual, 5d6 minus 5d4 gives us 17 minus 11 for a lackluster year of 6,000 gold pieces in profit. Now, what's the next logical thing to roll, knowing that exceptional rolls might affect the other ones down the road? You know what? Let's roll for our military operation. Remember, they were chasing down kobolds. This isn't the Ponderosa Posse, so it seems like a fair fight. A few squads of town militia versus some tiny monsters. We'll make it a DC 10. Based on our specialist, we're at +2. 6 to 9 is a push. Less than that is bad. 15 or better is a point of military tradition and 100 gold pieces profit per point over 15. Natural 20 is 2 points of tradition and a point of development. Let's do it. Natural 20. Yay! Da, 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 da. We dumped the wagon of burning coal right down their gizzard. Smoke billowed out of the hole, but they came scurrying up out of other holes all around us. Grabbers caught an arrow to the knee. Then suddenly, they were everywhere. Between the smoke and the heat, we couldn't see anything, but we held the line. Nan ran one through with that damn 8-foot sword we're always making fun of her for. It was stuck there forever, while she killed 3 more of them. The whole time, this half-dead lizard and her were face to face. I think she kissed it. Bluty came racing through on that camel, trampled 3 on his first pass. It was glorious. I got a little excited. Alright, security rolls next. Do we keep our money? Thanks to the Armitage Eagles, we're up to 6,700. Just having a bit of a spiritual moment here. That's another nat 20. And I felt like I was suddenly rolling dice wrong, so I rolled another, and it was a 22. Oh my gosh. Just to catch up. I had to see the next 10 rolls, but they got pretty random, so I guess 3 in a row is still pretty good. Gotta love crazy swings of the odds with no witnesses. 5 more rolls. Yeah, all normal. Alright. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. Excellent law enforcement. This year's budget is secure. Industry, 13 on the dice. New businesses keep arriving. Amenities with +2 for the great military victory. 6 after modifiers. Despite all, we still shrink a bit. The religion roll, 9 on the dice. That means something, but really anything short of a new temple isn't worth tracking. Finally, a trade roll. Don't need much, just checking to see if we can sell the ore and keep up with imports. 16 on the dice. That's plenty. We've also added a trade route to the barbs. Let's say 1d6 minus 1d4 times 100. We lost money. A couple hundred doesn't mean much, but 2 failed rolls in a row mean a failed investment. Next year is important. This brings our total to 6,500. Next year, the shipyards and the camel ranch will be up and running. Alright, development investments. Market, a 13, it goes up. Education, bad roll, but a low bar, goes up. Sheriff, 13, goes up. And infrastructure. Story time. Why is it called infrastructure? Because my DM NPC from 20 years ago was really dumb, but he wanted to help. He learned the word infrastructure, and suddenly everything he did was in the name of, well, yeah, you get it, infrastructure. It's been a running joke running around my head for decades now. Infrastructure should be administration. Administration should be supporting institutions. Now, maybe one of those is a public works office, and that could be called infrastructure. I'll figure that out later. For now, we're just changing infrastructure to administration to be more accurate. We roll a 19, admin goes up. Next year, we get another expert. Speaking of experts, sheriff, a 6, goes up. Yes, goes up. Religion, nuts, a 1, bound to happen from time to time. We lose a point, goes down to a 3. And the military, an 8, that's enough. That makes the military and the sheriff's office both 6s. Okay, last rolls. The posse have a 2,000 gold investment consisting of a personal mission across the desert to the west. That's 2 rolls with +5 with advantage for help action. The number to beat is a 7. That's the power of having an adventuring party doing the work. Let's not flub this up. 17 and 24. Trade node established. And the distant unnamed empire will begin sending out caravans. The party spent a whole year doing this. The trade score goes up, and they go up to level 9. Take a good look at the new chart before we move on. 9th level Bastions. In review, Bastion rules give characters 2 facilities at 5th level. At 9th, it's 4. More importantly, new, more powerful options open up. I'm not opposed to letting a character spend time and money to add minor facilities. They might not just get all of the interesting abilities out of them. Adding more essentially mundane facilities is just a matter of effort. It's where the pseudo-magical perks come in that require regulation. Even then, we have to remember these are 9th level superheroes we're dealing with. I tend to go with yes but answers. The but? If it turns out to be a bad idea later, I will reverse or modify my decision. I feel like Nellie the Bard got screwed around a little bit the first go around, so we're going to let her start. She has the armory at 5th level. Didn't want it, but the options were limited. Rules as written, the armory helps the bastion if it's attacked. Of course, we don't really use those rules. By our system, the armory should be giving a +1 to that security roll, which we're going to start next year. Also, the armory is more efficient when used with a smithy. That's the one facility that we don't have, so I'm adding one, and they're both going to go up on the ridge. Why? Because that's where the town's future fort, future castle is going someday. These facilities and the workshop are technically Nellie's. It's her followers and fans who built them and run them. However, they fall under Phyllis's wheelhouse, so she directs them. The party gets along fine, so it's fine. Everything is fine. That leaves us a pair of 9th level facilities. And yes, that's technically an extra one for Nellie, but that's why we have DMs. Now, over the course of the coming year, Armitage is getting a gaming hall and a theater. The gaming hall gives weekly money according to a chart. I did the math, and it comes up to be about $3,000 a year. That's not bad. It actually falls right in line with our numbers. Now, keep in mind, this would be Nellie's money, not the town. We'll have to decide year to year what to do. I think she could forego the money, basically changing the odds of the games or redistributing winnings as perks to patrons. In doing this, the town will get a +1 on their yearly amenities roll. The theater can potentially hand out what are essentially bardic inspirations. The posse can certainly use this function, but for our purpose, it will most certainly act as an amenity, the same as the gaming hall. In addition, each of the followers in charge of these facilities are amenity experts, something that we are in deep need of. So let's get out our D6s. It's been a while since we've gotten a good roll for this sort of thing. A 7 and an 8. That's a 15 and a 16. Far better than the doorstop currently running the amenities office. Next, please. I guess we'll just do these in reverse order. This little project makes me wonder when we're doing ninth level updates for the characters and really dig into what new skills and abilities they've developed. Now, for Angela, for the Bastions, she started with a library, and I'm sure they've gotten use out of this facility in their adventures, but on a second look, it's obvious that it can be used to boost education rolls. Then again, we don't really make education rolls, so I'm not sure what that would mean. The arcane study gets a big upgrade. It can now produce common and uncommon magical items. That means more decanters of endless water. We will change the face of. Calm down. Teleport circle. It's a must have. So powerful, and I make them even stronger. At some point, I really need to review my rules, but that's for later. For now, first comes the circle itself, then time and effort in gaining coordinates to connect it to the world. I could see a circle producing bonuses in a number of categories, but it's just so strong. I don't think I'll assign it any extra bonuses and seriously commit to solidifying my rules, or at least give it another revision. I found myself at this point having to decide not what I wanted, but what the party as a whole was willing to not have. The trophy room was obvious. That's just vanity. But the rest of them, well, they're all very good. So let's see how it plays out. For now, Angela goes with the lab. This allows some alchemical production. It might have been a better choice for Madge, but she's going to have to go with the greenhouse and the sacristy. Speaking of, Madge started with the garden and the sanctuary. Since we're adding things non-retroactively, I don't see much for the garden. Maybe it could be an amenity out here in the desert. Maybe, yeah, it's actually a pretty good idea. It's pretty and it adds a little food diversity, which is in of itself a amenity. So, okay, Madge's garden is vast. That means it's two types or two of the same. I think decorative and food are appropriate. She can make a little money selling bouquets and store away bunches of rations, or she can devote the garden as a +1 to the amenities roll. For the sanctuary, it's a simple +1 to the religion roll. Basically, its existence is showing the world Armitage is invested in supporting a religion. It will also increase the chance on a successful roll that it's going to be a temple of Luminous that moves in, as that is Madge's god. The sacristy is another common, uncommon magic factory, or an additional +1 to that religion roll. Again, it favors Luminous. I think nerfing the production of magic is totally valid if you want to do that. The existence of these buildings, as written, means low-end magic is readily available wherever there are 9th level plus adventurers. That's pretty much every major city for me, and I'm okay with it. You might rule NPCs don't get bastions, or that they are not player's handbook generated but based on stat blocks out of the monster manual. Again, hence, they don't get this perk. Of course, that means your PCs get a huge eco perk when they corner the market at 9th level. You could nerf bastions directly, or the magic creation rules themselves. On the other hand, if your campaign burns weeks or months, not years, you're probably fine anyway. Finally, Madge gets the greenhouse. +1 agriculture, easy stuff. And then we have Phyllis. She has the storehouse and the barracks. The storehouse is her contribution to the town's trade score, and the barracks is military. In both cases, per our now established precedents, they give +1 to their appropriate role. That's military and trade, if you didn't catch it. Phyllis and her bastions have been highly integrated into this town's interests from the beginning. She's adding the training area. Now, rules as written, this can do a number of different things, but for her, it's purely military. She can have it focus on what it's supposed to do, or she can use it as a bonus to the town's military roles. Side note, committing the militia as a whole to patrolling trade routes would give trade a +1 or better with a high enough base score. Also, hiring out the troops as mercenaries could generate money, but there's population restrictions and Well, that's a can of sandworms for another show. Last up, we get the stable. This is meant to be for personal use, but we're going to tie it into the barracks and training grounds. Essentially, it's helping along the process of camel cavalry, something that we are bound to get into for Armitage, and as a tie-in to the Fantasy Warfare playlist, something we are always interested in. And this is officially a long episode. Planning phase. I think the first thing to decide is what the posse is doing. They could do some local adventuring, or they could go long range adventuring to develop new fast travel targets with their teleport circle. They could adventure for money. They could go full recruitment, looking for general population and experts. I run open world most of the time, so this is a problem my PCs run into. So much to do, and nothing to do at the same time. The decision is, we're splitting the party. Phyllis is going to keep trying to develop her little army. She's going to try and talk me into expanding her regiment from 25 to 50 semi-professional soldiers. She'll commission the casting of a bronze statue honoring the great victory over the Cobalt Horde and lay groundwork for an eventual castle. As such, the military will get an additional chance for a score increase, and maybe we'll start a castle score. Maybe we'll even raise the recruitment cap, if she's convincing. As far as the storehouse goes, it's going to focus on bringing in treats for the masses, hence adding +1 to the amenities roll. We need growth. The military is staying close to home while training, and they will contribute a +1 to the security roll. Madge is gardening, adding food variety, lots of vegetables and such, +1 amenities. Her religious bastions will be adding +1 to the religion roll. Angela is far more prone to focus on her own thing. Early on, she's thinking about traveling, she's thinking about crafting new stuff, and spending a lot of time in study. Her library focuses on education, even though it's not a super helpful role. But soon she realizes what she is missing is other highly intelligent people to interact with. She decides that she is going to act as a free expert in education, hoping over time to push forward a plan to make the future city a center of learning. And back to Nellie. She is 100% performing this year. Her theater is running non-stop, and when she needs a break, she'll be doing a show at the gambling hall. This will be advertised to other cities that have access via the teleport circle. Each facility will contribute +1 to the amenities roll. That's a lot of buffs and potential growth next year. Experts, we have 5 now, or the ability to appoint 5. We're really going to have to get better ones. So hopefully we can crush this roll next year and get to roll for some experts. Let's decide right now that a 16 is going to give us 1 new one and +1 for each step. So 18 is going to be 2, 3 at 20. Of course, we'll still have to roll for their skill level and their field, so duplicates might ruin everything. We are assigning experts to admin, religion, tourism, military, and trade. Our 6,500 gold is getting rounded up to 7,000 by the party. It's going once each to the mine, Zadie's Hall, religion, the river node, our trade route, the sheriff's office, and trade. The mine, trade, and security are still all very important. The military and education are more for distant goals, maybe 5 years out. Religion is important, but just enough to get us out of the basement. Tourism got a nod just because we have a good expert there. Alright, feels like that's the end of a fairly long script. There is certainly a lot left to the system. We haven't even touched on an events chart. We'll probably adapt something from the Bastion charts, but I don't really know when. Don't forget to voice your opinion in the comments about the future of this project. Do we start over with a new settlement or some hybrid? Or do we get more value out of Armitage? No matter the posts, we're almost definitely good for at least one more episode.
Yep.
If nothing else, we would want some closure. I am so glad that you all stopped by. I'm not sure what next episode might be. Could be teleport circles, or we're still due for another Warlock slash Vampire slash high level campaign prep episode. As usual, you all have the power. After our advertising blitz, our subs are holding steady, but I'm not seeing any change really in watch hours or new comments. Keep warm, everybody. It's cold out there. Have a great rest of the week. You all are important to this world, and I'm glad that you're a part of it. Love you all. Cheers.